Hey guys, welcome to episode 6 of Are We Strong Yet? I'm Zach. I'm the guy in the basement down in the Weenie Hut, my home gym. Welcome back. Again, if you stuck with me this long, you kind of know what's going on. We made it. This is the 6th episode. It's kind of crazy. I usually record on Fridays, but I'm coming at you from Saturday night just because it's been really busy with stuff, to be honest. A good kind of busy. Had family come into town. Reconnected with some friends today that I haven't seen in a while, and just been really busy trying to sneak this in. So welcome back. Thank you for sticking around with me, and let's just get right to it. So diet update. Checked it on carbon this week. Only down like a half a pound, or it's like 0.4. My trend weight changed by I think like 0.4. So still some progress, but man, really slow progress. I think admittedly that was my fault for when I tracked all my calories and the pickle, come on, man. Sorry, my cat is just bapping the shit out of my leg right now. I don't think you can see her, but man, she just wants all kind of loving right now. Just like last week, she just, as soon as I sit down here, she wants to come say what's up. Anyway, I checked in on carbon. I think, admittedly, the reason why my weight went down so slowly comparatively was when I tracked all my calories. I ended up being about 100, not 100, but I was a little over my caloric limit each day on average. Like, that's not, carbon does a good job at the end of the week. If you actually track everything, oh, hey, pickle. If you actually track everything, it'll tell you like what your daily average, this many calories, you average this much protein per day, blah, 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 right? I was a little heavy. I was a little too generous with some of my meals this last week. And I think because of that, it's reflected in the slow weight loss. So I think just need to just be a little tighter. You know what I mean? We just need to be a little better. Admittedly, this week, probably not going to go super well. Like I said, I had family come into town, so had a big family dinner last night that admittedly wasn't super macro friendly. Spent a good time today at, there's a local festival called Rib Fest where they bring in ribs from like all over, and it's a big like county fair kind of thing. So had a little bit of naughty food there, and then I have a family birthday party tomorrow, so I'll probably end up eating a little bit of cake. But what are you gonna do, right? You gotta find room. Like, I don't know. I think find room for life. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like I could have brought some meal prep to Rib Fest, but that's lame. I could have, I guess, participated in family dinner, but not really, right? Something's got to give and take, right? Again, I talked about earlier, the 80-20 rule. Right now, we in the 20. This weekend, we're in the 20. As soon as the birthday party's over on Sunday, we're right back to it. We're right back on track. But I don't know. I think it's not that serious. Like, you want to stay locked in. You want to do the thing. But I think, like I said before, you got to find room for life too, right? So for me, it's, am I going to forego quality time with family and friends in this situation? No, like, you know what, man? Like, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to enjoy this food. We're not going to overdo it. Like, I'm not going to gorge myself, but I'm going to enjoy this food. I'm going to enjoy time with my loved ones, and then we'll get right. Like, the training never stops. Like, again, I kicked box this morning, burned a ton of calories per my Garmin app. It was a great session, had some absolute units, some absolute dogs in the gym. Great rounds, great sweat. I'm going to train I'm going to get up before the family stuff and train down in the Weenie Hut tomorrow morning. It's not just going to be a blip on the radar. Like, yeah, the next check-in admittedly is probably not going to be the sexiest, but I don't know, man. Blip on the radar. We're in for the long haul. I'm here to have a good time, right? And admittedly, the diet's been tough lately. I think I've just been at this for, I've been pretty consistent over the last, like I said, like I have to recount it, but it's been like 14 weeks or 15 weeks now. I've been on consistently tracking and actually like doing the thing. So I think mentally more than physically, because like I don't think my calories are low enough for it to really be that much of a factor physically. But mentally, it's definitely getting to me a little bit. So you know what, this little fun time over the weekend's a nice little mental break, so I can get back on track Sunday night or into this next week, like feeling refreshed, feeling locked in, and ready to keep pushing until our deload and maintenance calories. Okay, so I think it should just be a blip on the radar. I'm not super worried about it, but admittedly, I'm just gonna. Now, that's a good point in that this is not an excuse though for me to go hog wild through the next week. Like knowing my next check-in is probably not going to be super sexy does not mean that I should, again, going back to, I talked about the all or nothing fallacy, right? It's a perfect application of it. This is not an excuse for me to just gorge myself and just go hog freaking wild, right? No, like families in town, special events are coming up. Let's enjoy them. Let's enjoy life. Let's enjoy our loved ones. But we don't need to, you don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater, okay? So again, I'm not gonna spend all next week being, well, the check-in's kind of messed up anyway. So no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna keep it tight. We're gonna keep it locked in, okay? But again, you got to make room for life too. So I'm gonna enjoy these meals coming up. I'm gonna enjoy quality time with loved ones, and we're gonna keep training. And we're just gonna keep doing the thing. And in the long run, I don't think it's not gonna affect nothing. You know, it's like one more week where maybe I didn't lose as much weight as I should have, but I think in the process of like the risk to reward benefit of the pros wildly outweigh the cons in my opinion. So we're just gonna keep going, okay? Now, training update, a couple of exciting things. One, my birthday was last month and my wife and sister pitched in, got me some Cerberus sand atlas stones. Pretty freaking stoked. Yeah, like they just came in recently, because they took a while to get here. But we got those down in the weenie hut now, so I'm gonna be doing some Atlas stone shit. And I'm really stoked about it. I filled one of them. I got the 100 kg stone and the 80 kg. So Cindy helped me out. We filled the 100 kg one this morning. And man, I'll throw a picture of it. It's actually, you can't see it's in front of the camera, but she's thick, okay? So I'm really excited to start training with that. But admittedly, I'm probably gonna start doing most of my work with like the 80 kg one, because it's the 100 kg one. It's just, man, it's not only is it heavy, but I'm not a ton of experience with Atlas stones, so it's a technique that I'm just not super familiar with. Like it's an awkward thing, so it's just a fun new challenge and should translate to just building an insanely strong back. So I'm just super stoked to mix that into the training, and I don't know, I think it's gonna be a ton of fun. I'm really motivated, I'm really fired up about it. So nice little update there. And then also, I'm getting a reverse hyper from a friend of mine. So, I mean, it's going to be a while till that gets down here, but pretty sick. We're just getting all kinds of toys down here in the weenie hut. Every time I get a piece down here, and I'm like, you know what, I think the gym's done. And then, like, again, either I get a gift in this situation, or like my buddy's getting rid of his reverse hyper, so I'm getting it for a crazy steal. So, again, you got to get it while it's hot, but that's some pretty exciting shit going down in the weenie hut. But now to the actual, actual training update. Man, this week was tough. I'm gonna be honest with you. Some of the lifts were really difficult. Just going in, I felt like I didn't recover that well in between, and I think maybe I've just been pushing too hard, or it was a tough week. All right, every week's not gonna be great. This is one of those weeks, and like I said last week, you know, I think I had it too good for too long, so it's kind of, this is my time to pay the piper. Where this week, admittedly, was really difficult. We got through it. We were able to finish 3 out of the 4 main lifts in our time limit. One day, my deadlift day specifically, I did not complete in the time limit, and I was just cooked. I was just cooked. I don't know what it was, especially on paper. That was weight that shouldn't have been that heavy for me, but it was. So just a tough week, but hey, maybe I should have took that deload, right? Like we were talking about, but it's fine. It's fine. We're just gonna keep pushing. Admittedly, the way the programming works, because I'm following the way my leader templates work, it's actually on the 3-5-1 programming. So I just finished the 3s week, and this will be a 5s week. So the weights are actually gonna be a little lighter this week than last week anyway. So we're gonna go into this week and just give it all we got, and just fresh energy, really go for it. Funny thing too about how I've been doing the programming. So like I was saying before, if you guys have watched previous episodes, especially the one where I broke down, it was episode 2, where I broke down what I'm doing a little more in depth. But so essentially every 3 weeks, I'm increasing my training maxes, and every 3 weeks, like the numbers all go up because the training maxes go up, and that's what the numbers are based off of, right? Well, funny story, the guy who created 531, which is the style of program that I'm doing. His name's Jim Wendler. He literally wrote the book. He, on his YouTube channel, does a live stream every week where you can just type questions in the chat and just ask him like training questions and stuff. And I'm usually at work when those are going down, but I happen to have off when he was doing it. And it was during my kiddo's nap time. So I had some free time on my hands. So I was able to tune into that live stream. And I asked him some training questions. And it was kind of funny because when I was telling him, I was like, yep, I'm training and I'm really focusing on fat loss right now. And I'm running, specifically, I was like, yep, I'm running the fat loss prep program out of 531 Forever. And he's like, hey, you don't have to run that program if you don't want to, because it's more a diet focused thing anyway, which we know this, okay? But I'm gonna keep running that program because I like it. It's working, and I really enjoy how I feel like it's really helping with my conditioning and work capacity, but side tangent, separate thing. But he said that, he's like, don't worry about increasing your training maxes though, because if you're in a deficit and you keep upping your training maxes, you're burning the candle at both ends. And he's like, you might get away with that for a while, but eventually you're probably gonna burn out. And I'm just like, damn, dude, like, I feel like that's where I'm at right now. I didn't say that, but when he said that on the stream, I started chuckling to myself because I was like, fuck, yep, like, we kind of in there right now. So I think moving forward, how I'm gonna handle my programming, because I'm probably gonna run this exact same program block out again. Where during my leader templates, I'm not going to up my training maxes. I'm going to keep the same training max and essentially the same work weights for that 6 weeks while I'm in a deficit. And then when I do my deload and transition to my anchor template, I'll go to maintenance calories, and then I'll bump up the weights during that a little bit. Because I think I'll have some extra calories maybe, you know what I mean? So I'm going to try that out. Because I think long term that's going to be more sustainable for me. Because like I said, I think trying to burn the candle at both ends, I feel like it's starting to bite me in the ass a little bit. So moving forward, we're going to pivot because I'm running Wendler's 531, and literally the dude who wrote the book was like, hey, don't do that. So I think, again, we're playing the long game, right? So I think, sure, it's one of those like, less time I spend in a deficit and more time I spend at maintenance technically is like less weeks in which I'll lose weight. But again, I'm playing the long game and I still want to maintain as much strength and muscle mass as possible. So I really think slow and steady is going to win the race anyway. So moving forward, when I'm in a leader template, right, which is where I'm doing my more high volume stuff, those training instead of upping the training maxes essentially at the halfway point, I'm going to keep the same training max just all the way through, and then I'll up them once moving into my anchor template when I switch to maintenance calories. And we'll see how that feels moving forward. So stay tuned on that. But I just thought that was pretty interesting that even Wendler himself was like, yeah, man, don't do that. And I was like, sick. The specific question I asked him was, hey, I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I just want to be sure. I'm trying to lose weight, eating in a deficit, running a boring but big leader template, which is another 531 variation, but it's a ton of volume. It's a ton of volume. We don't need to get into specifics, but it's way more volume, and it's just more essentially. But I was like, trying to run that in a deficit would be a bad idea, right? His exact words would be like, yeah, that's probably the worst thing you could do. So I was like, good to know. Just wanted to talk myself off the ledge because it looks like it'd be fun, but we're going to wait until that's probably what the template I'm going to run when we get to a point where we're ready to up the calories to either stay at maintenance for a while or even eat in a surplus. But we got quite a bit of time before we get there, so we're going to chill. But that was the main question I asked in the chat, and it was kind of funny. But yeah, moving forward, just slower increments. Because the main focus right now it's not throwing up big numbers. It's like, yeah, maintaining strength and stuff obviously is cool, or getting stronger is cool. But at the current phase we're in right now, right, the main focus is let's just get in a little better shape. And what I mean by that is like, let's be less fat so we have a good base for our bulk. So that's where we're at with the diet and the training, guys. So kind of a meh week, like not a lot of big gains, not a lot of big movement on the scale, but you know what, dude, we got through it. we got through the week. You know, I still did my conditioning. I kickboxed this morning. We still did it. So, and I think that in and of itself is a win, because not every week, you're not going to set a PR every week. You're not going to like drop a ton of weight every week. Like it's just not going to happen. That's not sustainable. So you're going to have weeks like this sometimes where it's like, you know what? We just kind of made it through. We did it. We still stuck to the program. We still did it, but we just kind of made it happen. But that in itself, I think, still a win. Like we still moved the needle. Granted, we moved the needle slow, but we still moved the needle. And like I said, we're playing the long game. All right. So this week's title topic or TED Talk, or I'm still working on like what I want to call that, because I don't want to use title topic just because I feel like other shows use that as like their main thing, and I'm not trying to be a freaking copycat. So it's still, again, we're still figuring this out, right? But main focus today I want to talk about is I got here. It's just don't get lost in the weeds. I think this week was a great example of that. Of let's not get lost in the weeds. So it's, you know, you hit a point in your diet or your training or whatever where you start to really second guess things of like, oh, like maybe I need to switch programs, or like, oh, maybe I need to change my calories around, or maybe I should go keto, you know, or whatever, right? You start really second guessing what you're doing because you didn't have that sexy of a week, right? Like you didn't throw up a PR. The scale didn't move that far. The whatever, right? It's okay. We're playing the long game. That's going to happen, okay? Not every week is going to be a slam dunk. Some weeks, man, you're just putting a point on the board and moving on, right? It's not the time. Again, I talked about this a little bit last week. It's not the time to pull the ripcord. Okay. Remember, my main bullet point is remember how far we've already made it, not how far we still have to go. Okay. That was actually a big thought process for me this week while I was training. So when I started this diet, right, I was in like around 252 pounds. I was 255 at my heaviest. Probably I weighed, I think 234 and some change this morning. But when I started out in like the low 250s, right, I was like, I'm probably gonna have to cut to like at least 230. You know, if I lose 20 pounds, then I'll probably be lean enough to justify like doing a mini bulk. Now that I'm like at 230, I'm like, I'm not even close. You know, I'm gonna be real, boys. I say boys because like YouTube tells me it's mostly dudes that watch this. So what's up? I'm gonna be real. My original plan of like, oh, we'll cut to 230. That's starting to look real 215. You know, real 215 if we're being honest. And I got a hard suspicion I'm gonna get to 215 and be like, right? But let's get there first. But my point is, let's not sit here and be like, oh, I got another fucking 20 pounds or whatever. It's no, like, hey, like, we made it pretty far already. We've made some great progress. Like, let's look how far we've made it. Or again, during my squats this week, my top set was 275 for 5. That went super well. So luckily, my squat day went really well. Actually, I felt really good in the squats. But again, on paper, that weight's not that heavy for me, right? So I hit that set, hit all 5 reps, felt good, did my back down sets. Like, that workout went fine. But I remember not that long ago, and if you look back on my Instagram, it's like one of the first Weenie Hut Fitness clips I ever posted was me hitting like 275 for 3. And I was like super psyched about it. That was like the top set. And it was like a struggle where like my form kind of sucked. Like my butt was popping up. Like your boy was fighting for his life for 275 for 3. But now I just hit 275 clean form on like a bad week where I was kind of dragging ass, right? So again, like, let's not look how far we have to go, or not be like, oh man, like, I can't believe I only hit that for 5. It's like, dude, there was a time where hitting that for 3 shitty reps was sick, right? So like, let's remember how far we made it, right? My next point of, I think a good thing to kind of reality check yourself is, so if you, depending on how deep down the YouTube rabbit hole you are, you may or may not know who Greg Doucette is, aka Coach Greg. Don't really want to get too into him, whether you like him or not. He's kind of a controversial guy, but he one of the things he does is he brings up a good point of a realistic goal is halfway to your dream physique, right? Halfway to the dream. Because like I think so many people set these really like unrealistic expectations, or like there's a high chance of whatever person you're looking up to is a genetic freak on a bunch of drugs. So like you got to be a little more realistic. But again, just like again, I'm not saying don't aim high, but I'm saying don't. The main focus here, I'm rambling a little bit. Sorry, guys, I'm tired. I spent a long day out in the sun, so it's not the coolest. But my point is, don't get lost in the weeds and don't focus on how far you still need to go. Celebrate how far you've made it already. Because again, this is a long journey. This is a long process. This is something we're going to be doing for weeks and months. You know, progress is measured in weeks and months and not days. So just remember how far you've come, okay? Trust the process, okay? You have a program, you know, especially if you have a coach. Like if you have a coach that you trust, a lot of people out there maybe do have a personal trainer or a coach, or a lot of people don't. Like, again, myself, I don't really have a coach. I'm just kind of raw dogging it and trying to figure it out. But that's part of the fun, is putting the pieces together for me personally. And I'm very fortunate that I have a lot of friends who are knowledgeable, definitely more knowledgeable than I am, that I can bounce ideas off of. So I have that, luckily. But just trust the process. Remember, in it for the long haul, in for a penny, in for a pound. And my last little point here, and this is something that I especially don't always do a great job at, so that's maybe why I feel like more people need to hear it. Luckily, my good friend Will, if you're watching, he always tells me, be nice to yourself. Be nice to yourself. Like, man, shit's so rough out here sometimes. Like, just be nice to yourself, man. Like, you're working really hard. You're making it happen. You're doing your best. Shit, man. Be nice to yourself. If not for you, for me. Be nice to yourself, okay? And that's really all I got. Again, don't get lost in the weeds, guys. Like, when the going gets tough, or again, the gains are coming a little harder, or the weight loss is coming a little slower, it's okay, all right? Hang in there. Trust the process. Be nice to yourself, okay? Let's keep trucking. Let's keep pushing. I'm super friggin' excited to start doing some Atlas Stone shit. I think it's going to be really cool. I'm slowly acquiring some strongman stuff to like, shit, man, maybe someday your boy will do an amateur strongman show, but I got a feeling it's going to be a while before that happens, guys. I'm going to be honest. But that's kind of all I got for you today. That's, again, that felt like it went fast, but I truly don't know. Once again, guys, I didn't mark what time I started. I didn't set a timer. I'm not wearing my watch, so who knows, right? But if you stuck with me this far, thank you for just being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. The words of encouragement, the words of support are great. The engagement is always appreciated. Like I said, if you're out there and you're watching and you're just trying to get in better shape, or you're training for something, or whatever your deal is, I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to bounce ideas back and forth and all that good stuff. So please drop a comment, shoot me a message. I'd love to hear from you. That's really all I got. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you later. Remember, you don't have to be strong to start, but you got to get started to be strong. Take it easy.